Good morning, everybody. It's 10:30, and I'm calling this meeting of the zoning administrator to order. Looking at the draft minutes for the March 26th meeting. Does anybody have any public comments on the draft minutes of the March 26th ZA meeting? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment on that and approve them as submitted. Non-agenda public comment. We are now taking public comments on item 3, non-agenda matters. This is the time when any person may address matters not listed on the agenda, but which are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the zoning administrator. Seeing Janice approach the podium, please wait for the timer to appear on the screen and the recording secretary to give you the go-ahead.
Thank you, Connor. I just want to bring up that I come to a lot of the meetings, and I usually don't have a hard time getting either agendas, minutes, whatever I need. They're usually very helpful. But lately, and I've been busier than usual, so my time is really of the essence. I'm having a very difficult time even knowing when the meetings are or where they're at. And it's a good thing most of them are memorized in my mind for the ones I want to go to. But also, when you go on the internet and try to look at the meetings, they have been defaulting to an agenda from February 3rd. I don't know what the meeting was, I don't care. But I'm just saying that this is a real problem for people that want to attend the meetings. And I'm really tried and true. I've been doing this for, I don't know, 25, 30 years. And I go to the meetings that I need to go to. But it's a real challenge when you're trying to look at things that are related. And also there's no highlighting of the program so that you can click on the program and see what they're going to be presenting and then actually have a feel for what's being presented before you come to the meeting. So I just want to highlight this information, that it's really important for the public to be able to participate fully and as well as they can. And right now, there's something going on with even trying to find the agendas. I ran into a person that puts them in the glass, and I'm talking about in the lobby down here in the entry of the courtyard. And I was telling 2 people last week about this. The problem has continued, so whether they're even in notice of it, let this be your notice, that things are defaulting to old agendas and you're not even able to look at the current agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to make a public comment on a non-agenda matter? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the non-agenda public comment period and move on to the statement of purpose. The zoning administrator is appointed by the Planning and Economic Development Director and has the responsibility and authority to conduct public meetings and hearings and to act on applications for minor or reduced review authority projects or entitlements. A determination or decision by the zoning administrator may be appealed to the Design Review and Preservation Board, Planning Commission, or City Council as applicable to the decision. All actions taken by the zoning administrator may be appealed within 10 calendar days. If the final day of the appeal period falls on a non-business day, the appeal period will be extended to the next business day. There are no zoning administrator reports or consent items, so we'll move to our first scheduled item, which is a public hearing for a home occupation minor conditional use permit located at 3006 Aurora Court. Can we have a staff report, please?
Thank you, Zoning Administrator McKay. My name is Suzanne Hartman, and I'm the project planner for this application, which is for active motion massage at 3006 Aurora Court. The applicant is proposing to operate a massage therapy business within their home. The proposed hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The use is proposed to be conducted entirely within the residence by the occupant, limited to 1 client at a time by appointment only, and it does not include any non-resident employees. And the required entitlements is a minor conditional use permit for a non-exempt home occupation. This is the aerial view of the project site. 3006 Aurora Court, which is a condominium within the Vista del Lago residential community, which is seen here, zoomed out. The general plan land use designation is medium residential. Staff have found that the proposed use is consistent with two general plan actions. It's General Plan Action 2-5.4, which is identify new program options to allow and support micro-entrepreneurship and home businesses. And the proposed use is also consistent with the General Plan Policy 2-9.2, encourage home business as a sector of the economy, decrease vehicle miles traveled, and increase the provision of goods and services at the neighborhood scale. The zoning district is Plan Development, otherwise known as PD, and the PD district is intended to recognize the advantage that integrated community offers over conventional zoning techniques and implementing general plan goals through specific site developments. Home occupation uses may be allowed as a conditionally permitted residential use under the provisions of our city code 20-42.070, home occupations. Pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act, otherwise known as CEQA, pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15301, the project is categorically exempt because it involves a negligible or no expansion of an existing or former use. And pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15183, the project qualifies as a statutorily exempt because it is consistent with the General Plan 2050. I have received quite a few public comments, and they were attached to the agenda. I did also receive a late comment early this morning, so I'm going to do like a summarization of the comments. In general, the comments had concerns over the hours of operation and for parking, as well as the Vista del Lago HOA not allowing businesses to be operated from the individual homes. The city doesn't enforce HOA standards. Our findings are based off of compliance with our city code. And a home occupation use may be allowed as a conditionally permitted use as long as all standards are, as long as the use is complying with the standards within that code section. Staff is requesting to add a condition of approval at this time, stating that the home occupation shall operate only between the hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, just to add that restriction for the hours of operation for time. And the clients will be using the on-street parking adjacent to the neighborhood street along Lakeview Drive instead of parking right in front of the site. It just made more sense to have the client come from the off-street and not have any, basically not have any conflict with parking within the residence, since it does appear that there are some tight parking restrictions already within the area. And there was also concern over the operation already, or having the business already in operation without a permit. I just wanted to disclose that there aren't any code enforcement cases open for this site. So there, and that hasn't been brought up as it being operating already. So it is therefore recommended by the Planning and Economic Development Department that the zoning administrator approve a resolution for a minor conditional use permit to allow a home occupation use, otherwise known as the massage therapy business at 3006 Aurora Court. And the applicant is available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to make any comments at this time, or are they just available for questions? Okay, thank you. Let's go to public comment. So if you'd like to make a public comment on this item, please approach the podium. We have both podiums available. And if you do need to adjust the height of it, there's a button on the right-hand side that will bring it up and down. And then also I generally encourage people to speak uncomfortably close to the mic because they can be difficult to project into. So let's start on the western lectern with Janice. Thank you. Janice, are you ready to make your comment?
Oh, I am. I'm sorry. I was waiting for the lady over there. Yes, thank you, Connor. Janice Carmen, I approve of in-house massage. I've actually been a person who has done that for, I think, 12 years. I went to somebody's house for massage weekly, and I approve of the operation. But what I'm concerned about, because I am a licensed cosmetologist as well, and I did the 1,600 hours, as well as a college degree and other stuff. But that there be some, because they're saying compliance, you know, that there should be some standards, and I've been present at both the county and the city meetings for the gentleman that has come up with some kind of management of the massage therapy places in town. But I don't know if you have something that takes care of like the cleanliness and those kinds of things, which would come under something like that, I would think, if it was at a regular establishment. So that's the thing that I'm concerned about, that it isn't something that gets kind of out of control because they're too busy or the kids are too busy or whatever it is, and they're not able to keep the standards up to what they should be for a professional massage place. And I also think that there should be some enforcement as far as the hours, just to be sure, because I've often heard at meetings where there is a assent to agreements, but they're not really put on paper, they're not really part of an ordinance or anything like that. So those are the only things that I'm concerned about, and the parking sounds like that's being handled with being away from being inside the HOA area. But no, I approve of home massage, but I do see these other standards as being something that should be important. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Let's go to the eastern lectern.
Good morning. My name is Sandra Persons, and I live at 2317 Avenida de las Brisas in Vista del Lago. I've lived there for 42 years. I've stayed there because it's safe for me, it's beautiful, it's peaceful and quiet, and it has over 5 miles of paved walkways, and I'm a walker. I know this property well. It's a couple hundred feet from my house, and I walk on that street often. I know you've received objections based on the CC&Rs, which we all agreed to when we moved in, saying there would be no businesses, and a lot of people are upset because this individual isn't abiding by the agreement he signed. So I'm not going to go into the details on that, but I have a much bigger concern. Just hearing the words massage makes us feel good. We have visions of a room with a table and soft lighting and perhaps low music and nice smells and maybe a little microwave over there to heat the blankets or the towels that are going to be used, and all that seems quite lovely. I wish that were just the case here. This is a 2-bedroom attached unit. There's another house on the other side of the wall. The street in front has no parking. It's 20 feet wide, and the houses across the street have bedrooms that face this house. The problem is that this business is very mischaracterized by the application, calling itself active motion massage, because what this man is operating is a gym. That's not apparently been disclosed, but in his garage, he has a full gym. I'm not talking about one or two pieces of exercise equipment that somebody would use at home. I'm talking about a gym with guys, multiple, exercising, the noise of the machines, the garage door open, and none of that is consistent with where we are. And the second thing is, this business not only is in operation, it's been operating for a while, quite a while. So I'm happy to hear that there are restrictions being proposed. It's being recommended, and my suspicion is that the administrator will approve this in some way, but I would hope that you would set numerous conditions. We would like the hours to be far less than 9 hours, 8 or 9 hours a day. No, one client in the house at a time, nobody in the garage, no noise coming from the premises, no use of the private streets. The parking is on Lakeview, but there is no walkway from Lakeview up to the door. So they are trekking across the lawn and through the shrubs to get to this house. And this gentleman, by his website, is charging $160 an hour for his work. If he had 3 clients a day, that would be over $115,000 a year. He can well afford to go over to Yulupa and Bethards, where there are lots of compatible businesses, physical therapy, Pilates, acupuncture. This does not have to happen in his home.
Thank you. Western Lectern, go ahead.
Donica Hopkins, future resident of Vista Del Lago. I'm concerned that this will set a precedent, that if you're approving this conditional approval, then how many other people will go against the HOA's CCRs and say, oh, I want to do a nail salon. Oh, I want to do a beauty salon. I want to do this and this, maybe even a cannabis dispensary. This is a protected community for a reason. The CCRs specifically call out what can and can't be done there. It sounds like that this gentleman has been going around those to operate a business, and whether I agree with it or not, it feels that if this action is taken, then how many of the other community members will decide they want to have a home business, and then it completely ruins what this community was set up for? Thank you.
Thank you. Eastern Lectern, go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Myra McBain. I live at 2304 Lakeview Drive, also a resident of Vista Del Lago. My concern echoes the last speaker, and that is that Vista Del Lago is a residential planned unit community. And those of us who live there moved there because we want to live in a residential community. If a business is allowed to operate in violation of our governing documents, it sets a precedent for any other person to come back later and say they want to open an automotive shop in their garage. They want to open a liquor store in their house. This is a direct violation of the governing documents of our community and is of grave concern to many of the members of the community. I urge the Zoning Commission to deny this application. Thank you.
Thank you. If anybody else would like to make a public comment on this item, please approach the podium.
Hi. Sorry.
There's a button on the right side of the whole, of the entire, yeah.
Oh, I see. Is that better? All right. I'm going to be a little shaky because I'm not used to this. I appreciate everybody's concern, and I'd like to address. Pardon me? Oh, you can't hear me?
People don't have to identify themselves if they don't choose to, so please do not provide comments during people's public comments. Thank you. Feel free to start over.
Okay. To answer her question request, my name is Anthony. I'm the one who applied for this. And I appreciate everybody's concern. So I'd like to address some of the characterizations of the business. For the woman who walks by and sees me working out with my friends, it is not a business. I'm not training people for money or a business. That's me working out with my friends. Ever since COVID, I set up the gym so I can work out because we couldn't go into the public gyms. And since then, I've been training and working out with my friends. That's it. You're welcome to come and join us if you'd like. My business is not your traditional massage business. I'm actually more like a PT. I don't use oils. I don't use any of that soft stuff. I'm a pain relief specialist. I help people with their pain patterns, and I use my hands, and I work with people through their clothes. I don't use oils. I don't use any tools like that. So just wanted to share that with you guys. So there's no chemicals, there's no usage of anything that you would be concerned about that would affect the area. As for working in the area, when I purchased the property, the person who owned the place before me had a home-based business. And in fact, I did provide a database of the multiple home-based businesses that now exist in the area that are under operation, including another massage place. So I think it's the sign of the times. These micro businesses are very helpful for us because it was really difficult to find commercial real estate that was affordable enough for me to do what I do. As for pricing, I appreciate you recognizing pricing. I'm actually a lot cheaper than most PTs and most specialists. I'm a specialist. I'm a neuromuscular therapist, not just a massage therapist. So I work with pain patterns, I work with the neurology, and I'm at the level of your PT and DOs, not just a massage therapist. So I should be 200 plus an hour like some of my colleagues, but I'm not because sorry, I'm shaking. The savings that I have from working from home, I pass on to my clients. So that way I'm available for most people who can afford me. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to make a public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public comment and bring it back to the zoning administrator. I heard some questions, kind of concerns. I'm wondering if staff wanted to respond to any of the public comments that were made.
I could go ahead and address, it seems like there's a concern how this may set up a precedent for other businesses. I would add to that any business or use that is proposed, there are regulations and standards that the proposal would have to comply by. Specifically home occupations, there are limits to how it can operate and what can operate. So I guess I just wanted to add that any business that's proposed as a home mock, there's a process that would have to go through to even get approved. And there are restrictions on those uses for home occupations.
One really quick question on that. Are cannabis dispensaries and liquor stores allowed to be operated out of homes?
No.
Okay. Thanks. And were you gonna add more?
I'm just looking over my notes here. There was mention of the gym, and again of the operation, but this home occupation conditional use permit is solely for the massage therapy business. There are conditions of approval within the resolution that was attached to the agenda, and again adding that condition of approval for the 9 to 5. I'm hoping that answers the concern over some of those comments The gym isn't part of this permit application at all, so.
Okay, thank you. And then are there standards for massage types of,
There are a couple of conditions in here. I'll just I'll list the three that I'm seeing. The applicant shall register for a massage establishment certificate in compliance with the city's massage establishment ordinance. The massage therapist has certified that they are the sole employee of the home occupation. And I believe there's, yeah, I think the last one of the conditions of approval there about having to have that registry with the massage establishment certificate. And so there are standards.
okay, thank you. And then there was another question kind of about enforcement. So if folks were concerned about how the use is operating, whether that be hours of operation, noise, path of travel from car to the residence, how would they go about remedying those concerns?
There are some conditions of approval in here regards to the hours and the parking. So if those are not, if the applicant is not in compliance with those conditions, that would be, the city would be subject to, if they're not being enforced, I believe it's a code enforcement would have to look into our code enforcement would be looking into the business if any of these conditions of approval are appearing to be violated, and that could result in revoking the use permit.
Okay, thank you. So as staff mentioned, one of the, I think the greatest concerns that we have, and I have about this, is the consistency with the HOAs, CC&Rs. As staff mentioned, we do not enforce community CC&Rs. It would get out of hand really quickly if we were able to review all of the standards and then go through a city sanctioned process to mitigate issues. And that's why I think many cities across the nation in California don't specifically don't have cities that intervene in CC&R enforcement. And that is kind of a civil or a more hyper-focused issue. So I don't know what sort of legal structure there is in existence with the CC&Rs, but that is not a process that the city, it's not a city process. Like staff was saying, there is a code enforcement process that the city does sanction. So if there are, if anybody witnesses violations with how the operation is conditioned to function, we do have a code enforcement complaint process. So you can call code enforcement or you can submit a complaint online, and code enforcement staff will go out there, and if they witness code violations occurring, then that kind of starts the whole process, and there's fees, and it gets eventually to, as staff mentioned, a revocation of the permit, which would also be a public process similar to this one. And that would basically be taking away any approval that an operation received. And then in terms of parking, I think one of the things that struck me about the solution to the parking, which it does seem to be, I'm looking at historical aerials of the Lakeview Drive area, and it does seem to be that an additional car per hour could be accommodated there. But one thing I do kind of share the concerns about is the path of travel. I think if I parked there and I knew that the operation, my destination was on the corner there, I would be pretty likely to just cut the corner over the lawn, around the trees, through the shrubs, right next to somebody's car. So I'm wondering if the applicant would be amenable to an additional condition that would require patrons of the massage business to either use the pathway to the rear of the house or walk through the main entrance, the car entrance, to arrive at the establishment. Is that something that you're Okay, so I'm seeing yes from the applicant on that, so staff will draft that up, and I will make sure I agree with the language and its enforceability once, before I sign it. And then, yeah, and then kind of more, I mean, I think I understand how home occupations can change the residential nature of neighborhoods, but we do have a process for people to propose to operate a business out of their homes. A lot of those are home-based offices where you're conducting an internet-based, consulting program or something like that. But we do also have a process for in-person services. We do not allow sale of any goods out of home occupations. Basically, the way that the home occupation section of our zoning code is written is that for all intents and purposes, you shouldn't necessarily be able to tell that a business is operating. There's specific standards about visibility and noise and hours of operation. And in theory, you could have friends come to visit. That could be 10 to 15 people at a time. This is one person at a time. Sorry, one question I did have is the slide said an average of 8 people per day, and that I was trying to do some finger counting. That's basically one person every hour. So I would say that would probably be a maximum if it's characterized as an hour-long session and it's open for 8 hours. It's probably reasonably likely that it would be a maximum of 8 per day. Is that correct? Okay, so would you be okay with a condition that capped you at 8 people per day? Yes, okay, thank you. And that also, just from a neighborhood kind of activity perspective, that assumes a fully booked day, and that might not be every single day, but that is the established maximum as we just discussed. So I do understand, the concerns about the operation, and I think as we've just kind of workshopped and as staff has presented and the applicant has agreed to, I think we have imposed conditions that would reduce the impacts of the operation and the visibility and the noise and all these things to a level that I think is consistent with the required findings for a minor conditional use permit. I do encourage anyone who feels that those requirements are not being met to submit a code enforcement complaint. It sounds like this may have been happening prior to the approval, and I appreciate the applicant taking this step to get the proper approvals for this. But there is a code enforcement process for situations that arise that are inconsistent with our zoning code or necessary approvals. So I do encourage that. Sorry, I'm breathing into the mic. So I think with that, with the 2 conditions about path of travel from cars to the residence and changing or establishing a condition about the maximum clients per day, I do approve this project.
May I add also the additional condition of approval for adding the specific time frame where?
Oh, yes, yes, and the condition of approval limiting it from 9 to 5. Okay, so yeah, so I do approve the project with those conditions. As was mentioned at the beginning of this meeting, all actions made at this meeting are appealable, assuming that the appeal is received within 10 calendar days of today's decision. For this item, that date is Monday, April 20th, 2026. So if you have any questions about that process or any questions about what we just discussed, I encourage you to reach out to the project planner, as many of you have already. So thank you, everybody, for being here, and thank you to the applicant for being here as well and being able to answer questions and agree to additional conditions. So with that, we'll move on to our second item, which is Camacho Recycling, located at 1400 Farmers Lane. And we'll give staff some time to get situated with their presentation.
Good morning. The project in front of you today is Camacho Recycling, located at 1400 Farmers Lane. And small recycling collection facilities require approval of a minor conditional use permit. And this particular project requires a director level design review for the shipping container itself. And also, I would like to note that although the director level design review is at director level, there's still an avenue for people to appeal that determination. The applicant is proposing to operate a small collections facility behind a gas station. And the collection facility itself is 8 feet by 15 feet, and only empty beverage containers are collected. And the hours of operations for this facility is 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sundays. And this is an aerial image of the proposed location indicated by the yellow star. And this is a more bird's eye view of the project. And it's difficult to see on this aerial image. However, there are some shrubs, and this facility is adjacent to the trash enclosure, so the trash enclosure and the shrubs help screen this project. And also, the project is located away from driveways and intersections to minimize traffic and visibility impacts. General plan land use designation is retail and business services. And the zoning land use designation is plan development 0034. And this is a site plan of the proposal. And as I stated that this facility is adjacent to the trash enclosure, and there are shrubs a couple feet away to help screen this project. And the structure is less than 1,000 feet, thus no parking is required for this project. And the nature of this use, a recycling facility, is a drop-off facility, so it would not negatively impact the existing business, the gas station. This project has been found in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act, and it is categorically exempt pursuant to SEQA Guidelines Section 15301 and 303 because the facility itself is a small structure, a shipping container. And staff has received concerns and comments about this project. And a summary of those comments that were received expressed concerns related to traffic visibility, parking, and site activity. Staff has evaluated these concerns and determined that they are addressed through the project's location, design, and conditions of approval. And there are no unresolved issues at this time. And at this time, I would like to ask the zoning administrator, is it satisfactory or acceptable to add these conditions of approval? That the permittee shall not permit loitering on the premise or in adjacent areas under his control. The operator shall monitor the exterior of the business during operating hours and shall request individuals engaging in nuisance activity to leave the premises. And no recyclable material shall be accepted, stored outside of containers, or deposited at the site outside of business hours. And at this time, it is recommended by the Planning and Economic Development Department that the zoning administrator approve resolution for a minor conditional use permit to allow small recycling collection facility at 1400 Farmers Lane. And my contact information is at the bottom left of the screen should you have any questions.
Great, thank you. Is the applicant present and do they wish to make any comments? Yeah, please approach the podium. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ricardo Camacho. I'm the owner of Camacho Recycling. I'm certified by the state of California. I have right now 7 locations all across Northern California. So this business is certified by the state to make sure we're in compliance. And sometimes it surprises me. A lot of people don't know about the CRV, redemption. CRV is basically you get charged by the state anywhere statewide and 10 other states in the United States, 5 to 10 cents per bottle, can, glass bottle. And I did the math for like a single person, it's about, if you save it, it's about $50 a month. Now, a family of 4, that's about $200 a month that you paid the state deposit. And this business is a way for residents to redeem their bottle deposit system, locally. Like I said, it's for a family of 4. It's on average about like $200 a month that they get charged. And a lot of people don't notice that, or because it's 5 to 10 cents per can. But if you save them, it's a hefty amount that the state charges, and that's a way for people to get it back and to recycle it. That's besides the point. Again, we're professional. We keep all materials inside the container at all times. We don't like to have bags or material outside. We don't do any processing at the facility. Once container gets full, about every day we like to throw them on a truck and take the material off site so the whole area remains clean. And think of it like a kiosk, but instead of doing one by one for your 5 cents, it's all in bulk. You will take it in a barrel, throw them in, weigh them, and then so that way it's a quicker process for customers. They're in, weigh the material. We take it, we pay them out in cash for the material, and it's always a quick transaction depending on the amount they bring. I want to say 5 to no more than 10 minutes per customer. That's how long it takes. And like I said, we work differently than most recyclers. Like I said, we don't like leaving material outside, to leave like a more approachable and nice aesthetic, to the whole premises. And another quick comment, we don't, so some people, they have this bad reputation due to poor management in other locations, it'll attract homelesses. It doesn't. And let's say if people do come and those people, they recycle, we give them their cash, and they know that no loitering is allowed at the premises or the nearby businesses. A lot of businesses, like restaurants, they let loiterers stay there. My staff, they're trained to not allow any sort of loitering in the premises. That way, it's customers, they come in, drop off the material, get paid, and they leave the premises in a timely manner. And that's all the comments I can think of for the moment. And like I said, we have locations all over the state of California, so you guys can see what it's about. We like to decorate the container to make it look approachable, kind of like the building. And it's a quick process. I encourage everybody to save their cans, plastics, glass bottles, because it might not seem like it 5, 10 cents in the moment, for 12-pack, 24-pack. If you save them, you're looking at a family of 4. Like I said, it's a hefty amount for people to just turn them in, get their cash, and obviously it cleans up the community, so it's not just thrown or littered. And that's why the state put that system in place. I believe, the bottle deposit, to incentivize people to recycle as well. And that's all I can think of for the moment. And yeah, thank you for your time.
Great, thanks. Really quick, you said you have other locations throughout the state. Where are those locations?
We have 3 in Chico, California, 1 right now in Sacramento by Stockton Boulevard, 1 location in Davis, California, and Magalia, California, which is east from Chico. It's in that northern area as well.
Got it. And do you deal with folks that loiter? Like, do you often have to have your staff, what does that actually look like? So somebody comes, they drop it off, they're hanging out. What is that? Like, how do you kind of mitigate that?
Oh, no, it's all like, it's mainly, it's regular, customers. They come in with their car, they drop off, let's say they have a bag of plastics, bag of aluminums. They put them in a bin, and we weigh out that bin for them. We put it inside our facility. We store them in bags, and we pay them out in cash based on their weight. And as I mentioned, the loitering, I just say that because it's a stigma that like some people have of recycling. They think it attracts a homelessness because they think only homeless people recycle, and that's not the case. It's because it has been seen in other recycling centers where, the homeless recycle and they hang out there, cause problems. That's why I say it's a known stigma or bad reputation. That's why I'd like to clarify that reputation, of other recyclers due to like poor management, I think. But, we train the staff to, not allow like loitering. And I'll be honest, we never had that like a big problem that we had to deal with or call the police. It's just everyone knows like from the beginning, you turn in your material, get your cash, and they could buy something at the store and then leave the premises in a timely manner. So it's not like a hangout spot or anything like that.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
I might have questions later, but feel free to take your seat
Yes, sir.
again. Thank you. Yeah.
I would also like to add that this project was sent over to Transportation and Public Works, and they saw no issues with the container causing traffic visibility or other concerns.
Sorry, they did not have issues, you said? Okay.
Correct.
Cool, thank you. With that, let's go to public comment. If you'd like to make a public comment, please approach one of the podiums and wait for the timer to appear on the screen and the recording secretary to give you the go-ahead.
Thank you, Connor. Janice Carmen here. This is the answer to my prayer. For years I've been saying, what do we do with all our stuff? And I'm very happy to hear that there is a group that's taking this over, and it's also good that they have a history, that they are set up in other towns and cities and close to academic areas where there's a lot of students, et cetera. The one thing that I think sounds negative about it, and it's not negative to me, but it might sound publicly negative, is the fact that it's stored in blue plastic bags. That is kind of too much information, I think. But this is the thing. In Rincon Valley, for a long time, we had regular recycling in the Safeway parking lot. And it was really great. And you could go and come and drop off all your bottles and big plastic containers that you have your cleaning materials in, et cetera. Things had to be clean, but everybody knew the routine. They'd stand in line to do it. Then it went away, and we were very disappointed. So I still fill bags with plastic and stuff, and then I go, where do I take it? I try to take it to the dump or, whatever. It's really frustrating. So I like the idea, and I think that every material that they pick up should be in information that they advertise with so that people know about it. And I hope the Press Democrat picks this up, and I hope that you do approve this. I have 2 questions. One is that I didn't see the map, and I don't have one on my agenda, no backup or anything. I'd like to know what the cross street is for 1400 Farmers Lane. It's in my usual territory that I'm always crossing. The only other thing I see is possible traffic or being able to get off the road but not knowing where it is. I don't know about that. But I think this is a great idea. The other thing is I drove to Roanoke Park after the other one wasn't facilitating anymore. And I would go to the Safeway parking lot in Roanoke Park, and that was until the Safeway burned. And what they were doing in Roanoke Park was they were collecting the plastics and whatever you were recycling, and then they gave you a little check, and you took the check to the Safeway. And it was a way that they were monitoring the money. So I'd also like a question to be asked or answered on that part. How is the pay handled? And is it gonna be all straight cash? And then also, I didn't hear the part about where it goes after they drop it off somewhere at a big warehouse or something. Where does this go, and how does it get actually recycled, please?
Thank you. Go ahead.
All right. Good morning. So we're the business owners right across at the Townview Professional Plaza, directly across from the proposed Camacho recycling site at the 1400 Farmers Lane. And we're here to basically oppose the project just because our area is already dealing with ongoing issues involving loitering, vehicles being left for extended periods of time, and like there's no owners in sight. They're just campers being parked all the time. A lot of encampment activity. If you go around that area, you'll readily see graffiti, couches just lying around, and not like we've made multiple complaints to the city to have all that done, but it's always just falls on us to take care of all that stuff. My concern is that introducing the CRV facility at this location will only intensify those existing problems. The site is actually located in the middle of a professional office corridor. It has high-density residential homes right next by as well, apartments nearby. We have Townview Professional Plaza is more of a medical center where we have patients, clients, employees, and they all rely on this area to remain clean, safe, orderly. A recycling facility of this nature is simply not an appropriate fit for the type of business. We have engineering services, real estate offices, more professional offices right around the area. There's a school where the children that are leaving and going to the school, they count on that area to be a safer area. In addition to the impact on nearby residents, my concern is that the parking. So we've had multiple trucks being parked on a narrow road that leads to our offices and other offices in the area, to the point where there's no space and they're parking on the curbs. We see large trucks parked at all times of the day on Townview Avenue. And the professional environment of the area is basically being degraded by all these things, and like parking being taken away from us. Based on these, I basically asked the city to deny the application for this, just for that area. We're not against the recycling of it in general, but it's just, we don't think that's the right fit for that specific area in general. And a couple of comments on the visibility of it. It's entirely visible from anybody and everybody who's using it from the Townview Avenue perspective. There are big bins that are outside of the container in itself. It's not a small container by any means. It is not hidden by any shrubs. I have photos here that can donate all of that.
Thank you. Whenever you're ready.
Hi, my name is Deanne Wilburn, and I am also opposed to this recycling center at the location it is at. The reason a lot of these recycling centers closed down, the big blue bins that she talked about, or the ones at Safeway, is because of all the debris and whatnot that occurred around those areas. And that is definitely happening now. I have pictures to show that there are big trucks with big blue, I'm thinking they're Camacho trucks, big blue trucks that sat for a weekend the whole time, filled to the top, and not not well done, on the street, right in front of our
Sorry,
professional
could you make
plaza.
sure you speak into the
There we
mic? I
go.
couldn't hear you there.
Not-
Thank you.
I'm sorry, not big blue bag trucks that are parked in front of our Townview Association Medical Dental Building. And it's not just for an hour, it's for overnight. And it has repeatedly been happening. So I'm not sure where they're saying they're keeping it all in the gas station area, but they're not. And the other thing is, with all that, it is not a small operation. Before we approve this, I would suggest the city go talk to the issues that the other cities have had, because I'm strongly suspicioning they've had similar issues to what we had. We have to depend on parking on our street for the patients that need to come in for dental and medical purposes. This is taking up a lot of the parking. I have pictures for all this to show you, and I question the city's following up on watching this traffic flow, because I would ask when they went and what time they went, because I have plenty of document to show that it is being taken up. I would like some validation of that research that the city did as well before this is approved, and also for them to do their own research or to take these pictures and documentation that I have that justify why it doesn't work on that street, on that corner, in that area. The other thing is that business, the corner was approved for one business, a gas station. It is now turned into 3 different businesses. It is turned into a taco truck there and a very, very active recycling area that is just not appropriate for that kind of businesses in that kind of area, and how it's impacting our medical dental professional plaza building right there. With that, I'd like you to, and again, I think recycling is a great thing, but there's a place for it. This is not the place for it by any shape. And Roner Park, you mentioned closed. The reason it closed, it was because there were all issues with it. Safeway closed. They used to do recycling because of all the issues with it. Let's reconsider this and look at really the impact it's causing. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to make a public comment? Seeing no one, I will close the public comment. And yeah, if the applicant would like to respond to public comment, please approach the podium, or if staff would like to as well.
Hi. Yes, as far as the parking, I'd like to clarify that I had an associate that lived in Sacramento, and he was willing to live out here in Santa Rosa to operate this business. And I let him borrow a truck because he doesn't have his own vehicle yet. And that truck, he did park it overnight, but then obviously that stopped like 2 weeks ago. So you'll never see like a truck parked on the street or anything like that. And as far as like where the material goes, you know, if it all stays within the container, if it gets full, we have a small pickup truck that, you know, that we load it on and we take it off site. And then what we do, we drive the material all the way down up to Olivehurst, which is Yuba City, and it's a plant. And then they take all the material in bulk, and then they squish the material, they condense it, and then they ship it out to various places like China or Mexico. And like, for example, they melt the aluminum, that's how it gets recycled. The plastic, they shred it, melt it as well, and turn it to pellets. That's how it gets recycled. And yeah, as far as the parking, you know, that's not gonna be an issue moving forward. Like, that was a small inconvenience for my associate's end and my end, because I was helping him out with his situation without having a car. But that truck, you know, is no longer there. And the truck, if we do have a truck on site, it's a small pickup truck. Once the container gets full, because the material has to go somewhere, we don't like to leave it outside. We load it on the truck and it gets taken off site. And I finally found a yard in the area that we store the material. And then once the bigger truck in that separate yard gets full, then we take it down to Olivehurst. So as far as in the area, you know, it's all like cleaned up now, cleared up. And as far as the operation, Cal Recycle, they gave me a deadline, like, it's on paper. They said I have to open by this date, and if not, I have to, like, wait like another like 6-month period. So it's only there, to, so they don't give me a fine or like tell me to like apply and wait another 6 to 8 months. That's why we haven't really promoted or anything like that. He's only stationary, that just for the state of California. For the moment, that's why we haven't been promoting or anything like that yet. And yeah, as far as the parking, that's an easy fix. The truck isn't there, and yeah, like I said, the material, once the container gets full, we quickly load it on the truck and it goes offsite. So it won't interfere with any businesses across the street because there's no business going on over there. It's all in the one parking area that we have currently.
And there was a concern about like debris kind of around the site. What's the process for like cleaning up?
Yeah, debris, that's a simple fix. Debris could be like anywhere from like a couple like wraps or anything. But like I said, we have staff on site that cleans it up on a daily basis. And as far as like debris outside of that parking lot, there shouldn't be any debris because we clean up the area in the parking lot on a daily basis too. And you'll see during business hours, the area is always maintained clean. We have a brush too to clean dust as well. And like I said, that's being cleaned on a daily basis. And anything, once the doors close at 5 p.m., it's also ensure that the surrounding area of our parking lot is also clear of debris as well. Like I said, everything's inside the container at all times. And the container is 8 feet by 15 feet, so it's one parking lot. It's basically a one parking spot. It's like the size of a car parking in the parking lot.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm hearing that there's no debris or any sort of storage of anything outside of the container. It's all inside the container, that's correct? We have pictures. Sorry, we're not, I'm trying to engage the applicant here. Everything is always maintained inside the container. Okay. Sorry, can you go back up to the podium? I'm sorry. Sorry, we don't generally do a back and forth with public comment here. I understand that's not ideal, but that is the way that we run the public meetings. I apologize. Can you allow the applicant to respond and not interrupt? Thank you.
Yeah,
so the question was, would you agree to keep all of everything that's collected inside of the storage container at all times?
Yes, that's the way it is right now currently. All material is, inside the container at all times.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So just for the members of the public who don't appear to agree with his representation of the operation, as was the case with our previous item, projects are conditioned to operate a specific way. If they do not follow that condition, they are subject to code enforcement. And as I explained in the last item, you can call, submit a complaint, code enforcement goes out there. If they witness anything being stored outside of the container, that's a violation, and then it's a fine and fees, and it just elevates as they don't remedy to the issue. So that is the process for code enforcement complaints. So applicants generally are allowed to respond to questions from the public and from staff and from the zoning administrator, but the public comment period has closed for this, and we don't reopen public comment periods as part of public meetings. That's just how the city of Santa Rosa runs public meetings for at this level and all the way up to city council. So did staff want to add anything to what the applicant said? Okay, thank you. So yeah, I understand the concerns about the operation of recycling facilities in commercial areas. We do have, as I mentioned, conditions that have been added to the resolution that I believe will reduce and minimize the impacts, visual impacts and parking and traffic and things of that nature that I think would disrupt the surrounding area, particularly as the applicant was amenable to it. The condition reads that all recyclable materials shall be stored in containers and not left outside of containers when the attendant is not present. I'd like to change that to be at all times. Even if there is an attendant present, I don't want there to be any bags or debris or anything outside of the container unless it's like actively being handed off and then put into the container. I don't think the exterior area of the container shall be used for storage purposes in any matter. Is that good with you? Okay, thank you. And as was with the last item, staff will present to me that language, and I will ensure that it is aligning with the nature of my comments and is enforceable as well. And then there was another condition that you added during your presentation, or is the red line version of the resolution uploaded?
Oh, no, I have some additional conditions.
Okay, can you remind me of what those are?
No recyclable materials should be accepted, stored outside of containers, or deposited at the site outside of approved business hours. And a permittee should not permit loitering on the premise or in adjacent areas under its control. The operator should monitor the exterior of the business during operating hours and should request individuals engaging in nuisance activity to leave the premises.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, so that added condition also kind of addresses loitering issues that are perceived to be a problem for recycling operations as well. So with the modified condition about the storage of recycling materials being all the time inside the container, and with the additional conditions that are imposed by staff about loitering and moving people along, I do approve this project. Please note that this action is final unless an appeal is filed with the Planning and Economic Development Department within 10 calendar days of today's decision. For this item, that date is Monday, April 20th, 2026. Thank you. That concludes our business for this meeting, so the meeting is now adjourned.